night, so, and the room was so noisy, and then as soon as we started to do that, everything got so quiet here. So this is the first meeting of the brand-new council. It's the town council special meeting of Tuesday, December 16th. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Peter Talbot.
Here.
Don Walsh. Here. David Belver. Here. Fiona Pearson.
Here.
Tricia Kramer. Here. Greg Wolf.
Here.
Jim James.
Here.
Deb Mankey.
Here.
Lou Disco.
Here.
Please rise and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We begin tonight with public communications, and our first item for public communication is the recognition of Cheshire Junior Cheer. I want to start off by thanking Mr. Veliber. Mr. Veliber brought this to our attention. He does not have a daughter in the program any longer, but obviously stays very close and is affiliated with the group. So he was the one, and when I heard the results of how you guys did at Nationals, we absolutely wanted to have you here and recognize you for your outstanding accomplishments. And I have a proclamation that I'd like to read. If the girls want to line up on the right-hand side with the coaches, because I'm going to read this, and then I'd like all of you to circle through and receive the individual congratulations of the council. And if you guys want to do, if the parents want to do a group photo of the girls, we would certainly encourage that as well. So this is a certificate of recognition for Cheshire Junior Cheer competition team. Whereas the Cheshire Junior Cheer earned second place at American Youth Cheer Nationals held in Orlando, Florida. And whereas the teams cheer for the Cheshire Rams Junior Football, and whereas the team is comprised of 26 cheerleaders led by 6 volunteer coaches, and whereas the team worked incredibly hard and put in a lot of time practicing and performing to represent our town. Now therefore I, Peter J. Talbot, Mayor and Chair of the Town Council, on behalf of the Town Council and all the citizens of Cheshire, express our pride in our Cheshire Junior Cheer team, and by this certificate do hereby recognize the Cheshire Junior Cheer competition team and coaches for their dedication and outstanding teamwork. We congratulate them on their significant accomplishment and wish all of these young ladies and athletes much continued success. Dated at Cheshire, Connecticut, this 16th day of December, 2025. Congratulations. Come up in the front. Yeah. Yeah. I'll trade you. Only kidding. Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations. Congratulations. Nice job. Well done. Congratulations. 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 Well done. Well done. Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations. I'll give this to you, yes. I wanted to trade it for the trophy, but she wouldn't give it up. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Now that's the way to start a meeting.
Oh, and Mr. Chairman, if I could just point out that
Absolutely.
with this group has been, very successful this year, but it's been interesting. My daughter went to the Nationals in 2019, and I mentioned this to the coaches on the way in. When we went in 2019, everyone's like, oh, when the team hadn't gone in like forever. It was like, oh, this is gonna be like a once in a lifetime event. Everyone was like, okay, we good. And now, in the past 6 years, Cheshire has sent a team to National 4 out of the last 6 years. 2 of those were 1.5 of those years were sort of stunted by COVID. So really, we've sort of lost that opportunity. So, Cheshire is becoming quite the force in cheer. And we look forward to continuing that, that tradition going forward with sending another strong team next year, hopefully. And thanks to the coaches as well. I know that the cheerleaders get a lot of the recognition, but a lot of time that the coaches put into that, and the parents who are here too. Hopefully you all recognize how much time your parents put in transporting you around and getting there. So it's literally a team effort, but congratulations, and look forward to hopefully having another team back here next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Velleber. Very appropriate. We're going to jumble around because I know Ms. Piccirillo, I think, has a time. Yes, I knew you had to be here somewhere, and I know you have a time constraint, so we're gonna bump you up. But we're gonna have a presentation from Hope for Our Neighbors. I know that Paul Bowman is here and Patty Flynn Harris is here as well. So if the three of you, not me at all. Gee, what a surprise, Michelle. But Patty and Paul, if the Patty and Paul show would come up and.
Dynamic duo, if there ever was one. Go ahead, you can start first.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting us to be here tonight. Patty and I and Don Walsh are on the board of Hope for Our Neighbors, and we're a private charitable organization, a nonprofit located here in Cheshire to serve those that are homeless and those that have housing insecurity. So actually, you want to bring these up? We have a few handouts. Take that one.
You take your notes.
Okay.
Don't take my notes.
I won't take your notes. So, as we have the police chief and deputy chief and Michelle Piccirillo here, they're part of our presentation. They don't know that yet, but they are. Their particular departments are critical to what we do as an organization. We're 7 people on a board that work to do the best we can with what we have to deal with. But Michelle from Human Services, she's the director, and what her department does for this community is incredible. It's beyond amazing. When I was involved with the food pantry, Michelle's department managed all those people, certified that they were qualified to receive services. And as you look at it today, there's 371, I believe, clients at the Cheshire Community Food Pantry. So her department manages that, and she manages a lot of the crisis intervention that goes along with our community, part of which is homelessness and housing insecurity. And how her department and her staff do this is beyond me. But thank you for all that you do. Our police department also plays a vital role because they're boots on the ground. They're driving through town all the time, and they're very aware and in tune to what's going on with people sleeping in cars, people walking the streets, and all of the other signals that we have a problem in our community. The police cruisers carry a pack that we supply: sleeping bag, bedroll, coat, hat, gloves. There's a whole bunch of items, hand warmers, body warmers, that they're instructed to give out to really to anyone that they see that may be in need, that they talk to. If they can't convince them to go to a shelter or call 211, they try to help them the best they can. So what the police department, and also the police department does wellness checks too. So if there's a homeless person somewhere in town and they need to be checked on, the police department will go out, they'll send a couple of officers out and do a wellness check. So the services we get from the town of Cheshire makes our lives easier because we are not qualified to deal with mental health issues, we're not qualified to deal with public safety. All we're qualified to do is to try to help manage a very serious problem in Cheshire that really no one knows about and no one wants to talk about. It's really, you know, I mentioned the food pantry earlier. When that started, people said, oh, who's hungry in Cheshire? It's impossible for Cheshire. We started to hope for our neighbors and same thing. Oh, there can't be any homeless people in Cheshire. Well, quite to the contrary, there's, let's say, 25 people that are either homeless or housing insecure, about to become homeless. And our job as a board is to try to intervene and to help deal with those issues to try to keep people from falling into homelessness. So that's our job. And Patty handed out a brochure. And these are actually for the public, if anybody wants these. These are our brochures that we have, and we've had them for a while. But I want to just go through a few pictures we have. I think we have 4 or 5 pictures in here. And what's interesting is these pictures, these pictures are real pictures from the town of Cheshire of a homeless encampment that was discovered and actually about a year ago. And as it turns out, it's on state property, but the town of Cheshire managed it. And so when you look at the pictures that we show here, I have them out of sequence here. What's the first one you have? Okay, so that picture shows the Cheshire Police Department. There's 2 officers, a male and a female officer. They're going through the woods to come to this encampment that's in the woods to do a wellness check. And that's critically important because the weather that particular day was probably around 18 degrees. So they went in. The next picture will show the encampment that was built by the person that was residing there. Pretty amazing when you look at these. I can just pass some of these up too if anybody wants.
The next one was
And then the next picture really shows the debris that's being stored, the bags, the trash, the whatever's in there. And then the police department was able to open the tent because they had to look inside to see if someone was in there. And so the next picture shows what the inside of that tent area looks like. Pretty sad, I think. So this is kind of what we deal with and what we try to help Human Services Department manage. So Patty's going to kind of, maybe Patty, you can kind of say a few words.
Thank you, Paul. As Paul said, we're a 501c3 organization. We've been incorporated now for about a year. And one of the most important things about us being here on this night is that the very first consent calendar item that you have is to accept the money that HFON raised and has allocated for Human Services for exactly that. There are many cases that people don't know in this town of people who are facing housing insecurity or who are facing homelessness because of job loss, because of health, because of a variety of things and conditions. And that's really the mission of hope for our neighbors is not only to bring this to the attention of the public, because as Paul said, and we all know, people believe it can't happen in Cheshire, but it can, and it has happened all over the state of Connecticut. If people are aware of some of the news articles that have been in the public very recently, the New Haven Register and the Hartford Courant have had articles very recently noting, for example, that last year 134 people died in Connecticut who were homeless in the cold. People who cannot find shelters because the shelters are completely maxed out. If you call for assistance, you may not get an answer because there's no one to answer them, there's no services. And we know that here in town, the same issue could be arising. We pray every single day that we can get the services to be able to get these people to a shelter when they need it and get off the streets, especially in cold weather. Some of the things that we do, obviously, are directly in support, as Paul said, of Human Services. Michelle's office is our lifeline. She brings to us the cases. She makes sure that we are aware and comes to us and says, this is what we need. And some of the people that we have been able to help with her this past year, for example, we have an adult female who lost their housing after their husband's death, and with significant health issues, has been unsheltered. An adult female who was recently evicted from her housing after it being sold, after the owner decided that the housing market was such that it would benefit him. Understandably, that's his house, he can do that. But still, it put somebody who was not able to afford an apartment because of their low income, and they could not find someplace else to live. We have people with disabilities who are facing eviction. We have, as HFON, paid for the cleaning services for an apartment which had a very unhealthy living condition. We've also paid for things like remediation to a house that needed boilers because the house had absolutely no heat last winter, and last winter was just as bad as this winter is. And so we know we'll probably be facing that again also. We have a family of 5, a father and facing immigration issues removed from their homes. We had a person that Michelle brought to our attention who is a working mother, again, minimum wage, 2 jobs, has a child, has been living in her car all summer long, and finally had to come and say, listen, I need to get off the streets because it's cold. And so she can come to us. One of fundraisers that we had, our very first one this past Friday night at St. Bridget of Sweden Parish, which was our concert, is one way, as well as going out and making direct appeals to people, to be able to give money to us. And believe me, we are grateful that people think about the gift account, because that's exactly what one of our jobs is to do, is to help replenish the gift account, which is what you're going to accept tonight. So HFON has a big job on its hands, and we need the whole town to understand that it can happen here, it is happening here, and to be able to support us and Human Services in any way that you can. And especially you as the town council facing budget this year, you need to remember what the strain is on the Human Services Department and the Police Department to be able to support. And these are residents. Let me make sure that you understand. There are people who are living on the street who were born in this town. And they are reluctant to come and ask for assistance. So we want to make sure that they get any assistance when they do come forward. So, did I say everything?
Almost.
Almost, go ahead.
Is our 3 minutes up yet?
We weren't
Oh,
sure.
boy. People are going to start throwing stuff at us now.
I talked so fast.
You did good. So, just a couple things. Patty just touched on it. The job of the town council, your role is critical for us to be successful. It really is. The town manager, the staff, department heads, and the employees of the town of Cheshire, they go above and beyond. So, Sean, thank you. Thank you to the town council. You probably won't be happy at me in the future because we have some heavy asks that we're going to be coming to you with. And while we are able to raise funds and we're able to help Michelle's department on multiple disciplines of what people need to stay in their houses, your support of their budgets is critical to our role. We are able to get grants. We just received a grant from United Way of Greater Waterbury. Some foundations support us. like Patty just mentioned, we had a great fundraiser that we just had that raised some money. All of that money is going to come back into the community one way or another. But we need to move forward. We have to have a long-term plan, and we have to figure out solutions for this problem other than putting up people in hotels and doing what we've been doing, because it's a stopgap, a temporary type of thing, but it's expensive. There's a way that we can come up with other options to have housing to serve some of these people in a better way. And I think that's the next step. That's the next generation of what we're going to look to be doing. And it may be the town, we may approach the town for land that you have. We may approach the town for a building that you have. We have to keep all options open, and we've been looking at a lot of different things. We'll be coming forward to talk about those when we have more time. We may need some relief from permit fees. We may need some relief from connection fees. We may need some relief from zoning application fees. And we're a nonprofit, so if the town can help in a whole bunch of different ways, we'd greatly appreciate it. So we're going to continue raising the awareness for our mission. We're going to advocate for the funding and personnel support for the town. And I guess the only thing that I forgot to mention is that you have a copy of the cold weather kit that we provide. And I think I mentioned it, but it's in here. And it's critically important that we have all the resources possible to help anyone that we can. And with that, Patty, if you don't have anything else, we'll ask if there's any questions.
I want to thank both of you, and before I turn it over to my colleagues, I want to thank you both not only for the presentation, but for being on the board and working. Mr. Walsh as well. I think the work that your group is doing is absolutely critical. You know, Mr. Bowman, you referred to this as a tent. You know, this is let's call it what it truly is. This is a tarp strung up by ropes. Yep. You know, I'm a big fan of the TV show Survivor and have watched it for years and years. But what these individuals in our town, our neighbors, are dealing with is real life Survivor. And the stakes are a heck of a lot higher for these individuals than what the people on the TV show are facing. I want to thank town staff as well, Sean, to your group, Michelle, a huge debt of gratitude to you and to and Chief and Deputy Chief. Please pass it along to your officers that are the ones in this picture out there on a regular basis, checking on the welfare of these individuals. This is not something to be taken lightly, and the fact that we have a group that has stepped up to perform this work is just incredible, and I can't thank you and your board enough for the efforts that you're doing. With that, I will turn it over to my colleagues for any questions or comments they may have. Mr. Walsh.
I just want to say thanks for the presentation. As being one of the board members of this organization, I'd be remiss to not mention that some of the first funding for this organization came from two very well-known organizations in this town, the Cheshire Interfaith Housing Authority and Cheshire's Lights of Hope. You know, the two organizations gave a lot of money to get this off the ground, and I think it's important for the town to understand that those who donated to those organizations, your money is still being used, and it's important to know that this is going to be an ongoing thing, and you know, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 won't last a long time. It sounds like a lot of money, but from what we see, what's going on in this community, it's getting a little scary out there to see this. And I would suggest, if you do see somebody who you may think is homeless, you know, contact the police department, let them know. I would suggest, you know, let them be, but let the police department know, and they will take care of it. I think it's important that they have the kits, they have the means, they can call Michelle or whoever they need to, but, you know, I do want the town to know that this town is taking care of these people as best we can, as wherever we know there is somebody out there, we're taking care of them. So if you see somebody out there, don't think that the town is neglecting them. I think Michelle is on top of just about everybody out there, and I think they know who's out there and what they need, and we're getting them the help that we can, thanks to the support of the people who have donated to these charities. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Ms. Pearson.
Likewise, just want to thank everyone involved, and for your organization and for what you're doing and to the light you're bringing to these issues in our community. I know I've mentioned before, and I'll mention again, that the 12th action item for Sustainable CT is effective, compassionate homeless prevention. So there's an entire action in Sustainable CT devoted to this issue of homelessness. And what's helpful there is there are best practices in terms of what other communities are doing as well. So as your group is determining kind of steps forward, there are other communities like ours who are dealing with these issues that you've cited already. And so if we'd certainly, I know I have several members I see in the audience. I see Karen Schnitzer and Marge Chapman, who are members of our Sustainable CT team, David Boroway, Peter Prohaska are a member of our team, and we would certainly welcome someone on our Sustainable CT team who would focus on homelessness and housing. So we don't have anyone right now who is focusing on, in that capacity on our team. So we work on it, but it would be great to have someone from your organization or someone who you're connected to who might be interested in serving on our team. So I welcome you to reach out to us so that we can collaborate and work on these issues together. The 4 action areas are strengthen municipal workforce capacity to address homelessness, increase public awareness and support for efforts to end homelessness, collect and share homelessness data, and provide or mobilize resources to address homelessness, which are all the things I know you're already doing. And so we can actually help you to document that. Then it would be shared on the repository that you could also access at any time, so you would have access to that information. And again, there are best practices in terms of what other communities are doing. And then secondly, that would make you eligible, or already, because we are registered and we just received recertification in our community for the Sustainable CT Matching Grant Fundraiser, which is another way to bring awareness to these issues. And so that works as crowdsourced funding. So for these packets that you have, for example, this would be perfect. And I know Marge Chapman has worked on this successfully with the interfaith community, Cheshire Creation Care, in terms of creating a fundraiser for both our composting in town and for takeaway packages, for take-home plastic contain and stave packages. But these kinds of packets that you're creating are the perfect kind of tangible item that Sustainable CT would love to help fund. And then basically every dollar someone gives in the community, they'll match $1 up to $6,000. So it's an easy $6,000 that you could very quickly raise. But it also promotes awareness, just because in promoting the fundraiser, you're bringing awareness to the issue so that perhaps it will support your other fundraisers. So just something for you to keep in mind, and happy to work with you in our capacity on those fronts.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Thank you. And certainly, I think we'll be talking in the future and see how we can work something out.
Anyone else? Mr. Jinks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So thank you very much to the group, your group, for starting this effort. Very important, obviously. I just happened to notice today that I think it was a press report that just over the last few weeks, I think 12 people had died, homeless people had died in Connecticut. Are we, as far as people that we know of that are outside still, or are we close to getting those folks inside? Is there anything that we could be doing as a council to help facilitate getting any of those folks inside at this point?
You want to do that?
So there are so many issues, Jim, with people that are on the streets, and some of them because of mental health issues, PTSD, that do not want to be housed. But believe me, our support of Michelle and Human Services, they're the ones that we turn over or rely on when there is a client who may be facing some of those issues. So there's nothing that HFON can do to actually get them into a facility. It's whether or not we have whether the facility has the availability to accept anyone, at this point. So the police department certainly is helpful in getting rides for people to get them off the street if they are willing to get off the street, as well as all the work that Michelle does to help identify those people. But yeah, there are people who are facing so many different challenges as to whether or not they will go into shelter. So yeah, we're just trying to do and make sure that we're at least identifying and helping and being able to support to be able to get them in if they will do that. Please do.
Sure.
We wanted you up here.
I did
Bess.
not want to be up here, but I do just want to speak to that because if you don't know how it works in the state of Connecticut right now, in order to get into a shelter, you have to call 211 first and register with 211. We have called 211 with people, and I have been in line on the phone behind 300 people at times. It's not a great system that we have set up. And so the shelters are not, and some of the things that are happening at shelters prevent people from wanting to go. So they've either had a bad experience at a shelter, or they're afraid to go to a shelter, or the shelter's in a different city, or whatever the case may be. And so what we've found is that right now, the people that we are aware of are outside in extreme weather, we are placing them in a hotel when we are aware that they're outside. So we really are trying to avoid having anybody stay on the street in cold weather. So we're either supporting them through Human Services, through HFON, or through other organizations in town or private donors. So I also did just want to add that all of the funding that we use to support crises like this comes from our gift account, aside from staffing time and materials and things like that. And so one of the biggest donors to our gift account in the past has been Lights of Hope. And now that Lights of Hope doesn't exist anymore, we are no longer, we don't have steady stream of funding going into that gift account. And so I just want to say that because that is why an organization like Hope for Our Neighbors is so important to the Human Services Department and really critical to us being able to respond to the housing insecurity and unsheltered people in our community.
Michelle, before you go, yeah, I know. See, but that's the problem. You started it, so it opened the door. So just to educate not only the council but anybody that may be watching tonight or watches in the future, when you say cold weather, we're housing people in cold weather. What is kind of the threshold that you utilize? Is there a number, for example?
I think when it's declared a weather emergency, that's something that we respond to. But certainly, like for us, if it's below 40 degrees, to me, that's a cold weather emergency. So that's sort of what we use. And in the heat as well, right? So I don't want to say just cold weather. If we're having a heat wave and it's unsafe for people to stay outside in the heat, and it's declared a weather emergency, we'll respond in that same way. The hotel housing, though, is not a sustainable long-term plan, and I do want to make that clear. It's very expensive, and it just is not, it's not sustainable, and it's really, quite frankly, not a way for somebody to live. It's certainly a good alternative to being on the street, but there's no, there's no stove, there's no kitchenette, there's no, they can't make food, and so, it's an answer in an emergency, but it's not necessarily a sustainable long-term plan.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you both.
So
Sure,
if I
Paul.
could have just one more minute, because I forgot to mention our board of directors. And I'll probably be voted off the board at the next meeting. So Patty's our vice president. We have Doug Levins is our secretary. Neil Bradley is our treasurer. We have Arnett Talbot, who's on the board, Mike Votto, and Don Walsh. So there's 7 of us right now. We do have some board members that are they're ex officio. Thank you, Patty. Ex officio members. So they don't have a voting, but they're critical to the success of our board. And that's Mike Durkee from the police department, Michelle Piccarello from Human Services. We just added we added 2 youth spots. We changed our bylaws. And Julia Kurtz is on as a youth, from the youth community. And did I forget anybody? Who did I forget? Oh my God. Father of Romans.
That's the one you
And I
didn't
know
want
he's
to
watching,
forget.
so,
Yeah.
okay. I'll have to go to confession.
Yeah, exactly.
So, in any event, yes, Father Romans from St. Bridget's Parish. He's been incredibly generous and helpful as well. So, without anything else, I think there's other people here that want to say some things that are on the agenda. So, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And good night.
Thank you, we appreciate it, and please pass along the thanks of the council to the rest of the board that is not present tonight.
We'll do that.
Thank you for all you're doing. Next item up is the, yes, thank you. Is our annual update from the Environment Commission. I know that Karen is here with a couple other members. Laura Monty is here as well. So I'll turn it over to you, and I know you have some slides that we can see on the TV screens.
Good evening, and I'd just like to add my thanks also to Hope for Our Neighbors. It's really an important thing to be doing that and taking care of people that need help. But here we are. Laura and I are going to give you an overview of the Environment Commission and what we've been doing and some of the things we hope to do for the coming year. All right, so.
I don't have as a PDF, guys, so I only have it as PDF.
All right, and that's okay. We didn't want to get lost in any weeds over there. All right, so the Environment Commission basically is, well, we're going to go through some of our agenda and goals. And next slide. Our mission basically is to protect Cheshire's natural resources and promote the responsible use of our open spaces. But we do like to do additional things we have that we'll tell you about. We have 7 appointed members that serve 4-year terms. I think at this point in time we have a really good team. We're getting a lot done. And we do enjoy engaging volunteers as well as partnering and working together with Parks and Recreation, Planning and Zoning, and other boards and commissions. Some of the things that we've accomplished, or one of the most important ones I think at this point in time, is the Cheshire Trail Stewards Group was formed and approved. Do you want us to talk about that, Laura?
Sure. Okay. I brought a few notes so I wouldn't forget to mention some of the important things. This year, under the leadership of John Golick, we formed a volunteer group called the Cheshire Trail Stewards. We patterned it after a successful trail steward program in Wallingford, which John Golick oversaw. The purpose is to take care of Cheshire's trails, and our top priority right now is invasives, invasive plants. Nothing glamorous, believe me. In fact, the analogy I like to use is invasive plants are like when you invite people over to your house and they don't leave. Not only do they not leave, but they eat all the food in your house and they don't help out in any way. And that's what invasive plants are. They were brought here, a lot of them for landscaping and gardening, innocently. It wasn't done maliciously. And unfortunately, it's become a huge problem in Cheshire and across the whole state and, in fact, the whole nation, because these plants are damaging the environment significantly. I mean, it doesn't sound, I mean, it's hard to believe that plants can cause that much problem, but they do. They outcompete our native plants. They prevent native plants from growing, and they also starve the wildlife because they are not eaten or they do not produce anything that native wildlife can use. So it's become a huge problem, and we are trying to do our best to get rid of as many as we can. It's a labor-intensive process. We're out there hacking away, sometimes with machetes, sometimes with clippers, loppers, whatever we can get our hands on. And we have a group now of approximately 12, but we would love more help if anybody would like to join us. Let's see, did I forget anything? If you're interested, and if you, if you do join, you get one of these really fashionable vests. If you see us out on the trails, we are only on town property, but we need all the help we can get, and we hope to make a dent. Nobody thinks we're going to win. We're not going to be able to get rid of all the invasives, but we certainly can improve the situation.
What I like to say is, if you're working on invasive plants, it's job security for life and beyond. But yes, but even just on the side note, it sounds like we're basically working on land-based invasive plants, but they are a real problem. Maybe you've heard about the hydrilla. There's a variety of hydrilla in the Connecticut River that has evolved to be very pernicious and hard to get rid of, so that invasive plants can even cause economic harm. You cannot even fish where this plant is, and so the state's having a lot of fun trying to get rid of it. All right. This is the next. Could you go back a slide? All right, so yes, we've done some other things, just very briefly. We advocated for the adoption of the native plant resolution last year, and this year we've had 3 forester visits with Dave Irvin, reporting on Roaring Brook, D. Dominicus, and Yankee Expressway Highlands with very deliciously detailed informational reports. And anyone who wants, if you want to go on any of these hikes with Dave Irvin, just let us know and we'll add you to the list.
Okay, one of the projects that we're excited about is reclaiming the hiking trails in Boulder Knoll. Some of you may know that there were trails there. Some of you may have tried to find them, and they're impossible to find. So we are working on reclaiming those trails, just to add more trails in this, beautiful trails in this beautiful town.
One of the other things we did, that there is property that is coming available on the Quinnipiac River that the Environment Commission has supported, and we've also gotten support from some of the other organizations in town, like the Quinnipiac Valley Audubon Society and the Cheshire Land Trust. Because why not? The Quinnipiac River is very important. It has a lot of important wildlife, like the rare and elusive wood turtle. That's very, very cute. So we wanted to protect that. Also, other things we've done included providing some environmental guidance when the Honeypot Disc Golf Course was being designed. There was a publication that I had access to. I shared with Parks and Rec and the people promoting the disc golf course about where to put trails, where not to put trails. And I also had found some American chestnut tree saplings on the property, and they were genetically tested, and they were American chestnuts. They weren't Chinese. And I said, okay, if you're going to put trails here in disc baskets, here are the chestnut trees, so be careful of them, as well as some other things that they very kindly listened to and avoided when they designed the course. And also, Cheshire Trails are on different apps so that we have more people coming to hike the trails here in Cheshire. Oh, now the fun part, we have some photos. This is the best part. All right, so we have pictures of some of us out after cutting down some of that pernicious knotweed. You can see that on the left. And then the middle is a reclaimed trail at Fenn Road so that you can actually go for a hike around the property. And on the right, that's me and a few other folks. We had we'll call it a practicum, I'm guessing, with Pete Picone. He's from Southington, and he's with DEEP. He's a wildlife biologist, but he also manages a lot of land and does a lot of native plant seed sowing. And so he was helping us, teaching us about how to get rid of particular invasive plants along the rail trail. So that was good. And we also go for hikes. And so on the left, that's American cancer root. It's a plant that grows and seems to like oak trees, and that was at Roaring Brook. In the middle, that's a lady slipper at Yankee Highlands, and on the right, that's a dogtooth violet at Roaring Brook also. Laura, do you want to talk about these?
Okay, sure. not everything is beautiful, unfortunately, and that's one of the things that we're addressing also as trail stewards, is trying to clean up trails and make them safer and more enjoyable. The picture on the left is our trails from an ATV that should not have been tearing up the trails in De Dominicus. The middle is, I think, is that De Dominicus?
I know that's Yankee Highlands.
Oh, okay, that one's Yankee Highlands. Yeah, and another unauthorized trail that needs to be decommissioned, yes, thank you. And the picture on the right is a shotgun shell, because there has been some illegal hunting. Obviously, it's very dangerous for hikers and bikers to be on trails where people are hunting illegally. And so we have been working with DEEP to try to remedy that situation.
Oh, yes. Go ahead if you wish.
Okay. This is the Boulder Knoll trails that we are trying to reclaim, and there is everything that you can see that's not a tree is an invasive plant. So this is going to be a challenge, but we are trying to figure out how to reclaim this. We're making progress, but we have a ways to go.
All right, so I'm sure all of you understand the economic benefits of open space. People like to come to a place, go hiking, and then go have some ice cream, or at least I do. It's also good for your mental health and your physical health because you have some place to go for a hike or a rollerblade, or I used to do that. And then cool things outside, hiking and all that. And basically, I'm sure most of you know these things. The housing prices are higher, the property values are higher when you have open space. Next slide. Also, of course, you can go for hikes with your friends. Access to green spaces reduces anxiety and depression, etc. Good stuff for you. Some of our goals. Of course, we've talked about reclaiming trails at Boulder Knolls. We're going to continue work on removing invasive plants. We're planning on working together with the YMCA, the high school, the Scouts, and any other group in town that wishes to join us on a project. Part of getting all these walkthroughs with the forester and getting the reports is we're going to update our open space management plans for our major properties. And we plan to continue to educate people about open space, wildlife, and native invasive plants. I think we'd like to have some sort of a speaker series in the library this year, so that's something that's on our list. And then, of course, we support funding the Open Space Acquisition Fund. We support the expansion of composting in town. We'd really like to see the folks at Boulder Knoll be able to collect compost from across the town. We're planning to work with the Energy Commission to work on approving lights out lighting regulations, or at least trying to make some progress with that, and particularly targeting the calorie pear trees and Tree of Heaven on town properties. For example, we know that at Boulder Knoll there's a lot of calorie pear out in the fields. They're on my list. Do you want to talk about this?
Okay, sure. One of our members, who unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, built this beautiful database spreadsheet for all the for all the 5 large open spaces in Cheshire. And each one we've made tasks for within every single, under every single open space, prioritize the urgency of it, who's responsible, and this is searchable, editable, and this is how we keep track of what we're trying to do. And it's been incredibly helpful to have this tool as we continue to try to make progress across all the open spaces in Cheshire.
And, well, you know, we don't use a lot of money, and we're not going to ask for a ton of money, but we'll probably ask for a little bit of money to help us get some more stuff done. That's all. Because we do go to symposiums and annual meetings to learn things about things that we can do here and do better, and how to get rid of those invasive plants. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Go ahead, let's see. Yes, and as you know, we do have our council liaison who's welcome to join our meetings every month, whether in person or via Zoom. And we invite any group in town to invite us when you start thinking about projects, if we might have some input. We are strictly advisory, we know that. We can't make you do anything, but we have 2 cents we can probably put into the pot. And then, yes, and we will continue to work across with other organizations and commissions. We've done that, Parks and Rec, Public Works, et cetera, and we'll continue to do that. Oh, next slide. Oh, wait, yes, and of course, we welcome the council's guidance. And we will continue to, of course, engage residents and volunteers in discussions and work sessions. And next slide. I'm trying to get to the last slide. Yay! Thank you all for your support. Town Council, John Golick in Parks and Rec, Sean Kimball, Andrew Martelli, and everybody in other departments who've been a help. We appreciate it very, very much. We could not have accomplished so much without your support. Thank you.
Thank you both. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you, coming in on a regular basis, even annually to give us this update. I think it's important, not only that the council is aware of information that, our boards and commissions are doing, but specifically with the work that you're doing, in the community, in places like Boulder Knoll and some of the open spaces that we have. I have 4 quick things before I turn it over to my colleagues. I will tell you that if Ms. Kramer is not there in person, I know she's watching every single one of your meetings, because it probably is not very many months where she doesn't have a liaison report on environment. So we are being kept apprised as to what you guys are doing on a regular basis. You talked about Cheshire High School, and I know that Ms. Taylor is here tonight, but there's Cheshire High School students prior to graduation have a community support commitment. Are you tapping into that, or have you worked with the schools in any way, shape, or form to get kids these credit hours, so to speak, towards their community involvement that would help towards their graduation? And the follow-up to that is, do you know, or Ms. Taylor, do you know if there is any sort of environment club or whatever at the high school? But that may be something that would be cool to foster.
Well, we haven't reached out to them yet, but I do invite them to reach out. I think there's an environment club. I'm not sure how active it is, but speaking of this, reminds me that there are projects that we can, in the spring,
Yeah.
there are things that we can ask them to help us with.
You probably can't during the summer when,
Right.
once the kids are out of school. But certainly springtime would be great to, we hear, shoestring budget and that, so anything that you can tap into would be great. And, maybe the two of you guys can exchange, and Ms. Taylor can get you contact information for someone at the high school that would be involved in that, because I think to me, it's a natural tie-in.
We did actually meet with the representative from the Y and from the high school, and I apologize, I don't recall his name. But so we have started. We have actually started to try to work out a program that could involve high school students. They are very interested, and we are also very interested in collaborating with them. And we think it would provide the students with some good experience in education as
Exactly.
well.
All right, and two quick environmental questions then. In doing traveling around New England, I've seen signs at different state borders that say you can't bring in camping firewood.
Right.
Does Connecticut have any restrictions on that? And if we don't, should we be working with our state delegation to do something?
I think we do have restrictions, and I believe there's also restrictions on just moving firewood because it does transport insects. I think one of the insects is probably
Right.
the sparkling spotted lanternfly, one of our favorites, not, and the emerald ash borer, but mostly the spotted lanternfly I'm thinking of.
And you touched on my second question. We've all heard the talk about lantern bugs. So you encounter a lantern bug at your home, what do?
Anyone who is willing and able, you may kill it. They're crunchy. I don't kill them myself, and they're very fast. They're leaf hoppers, boing, boing. But there are species of birds and animals that are learning to eat them, so we're going to cross our fingers. I saw a spider catch one in a web and,
Wow.
and save it for lunch, and I've heard of other birds catching them as well.
Excellent, thank you. That takes care of my questions. I'll turn it over to my colleagues and see if, Mr. Jinks.
Hey guys, thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for all the work that your group does and the commission does. I have a feeling that spreadsheet up there is from Sean Henry, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, looks like his work. One thing Sean actually, he posted not too long ago about the Quinnipiac River and how blocked up the river is, especially through Cheshire. Do you guys have, is that potentially an agenda item for you to look at grant opportunities or some way to try and clear parts of the river? One of my favorite places to walk with the dog is the trail out in Quinnipiac Park along the river. The trail itself actually could use a little bit of work, but it's really the river that is in pretty tough shape. I don't know if that's something that you guys have thought about or would consider adding to your list of agenda, your unfunded agenda here. But it's just something I have a personal interest in, but also I think it'd be a great resource to have the river, at least through town, be passable by kayakers and canoers and stuff.
Once upon a time, the Quinnipiac River Watershed Association used to have canoe races on the river. And every year, prior to having the race, they would canoe the river and they would clear the river. But they haven't done that in some time. You would have to find people who are comfortable being on a boat with a chainsaw. And I don't know if... No. I'm comfortable on land with a chainsaw. But so it would be, we'd have to really, we could look and see if we can find people who used to do that, who might be willing to do it. But I don't think we have anyone right now who's comfortable on a boat with a chainsaw. But we can look. We'll put it on our list. No, seriously. Okay.
I want to say that, and I may be confused, but I'm pretty sure the group that you talked about, the Quinnipiac River Watershed, used to be on our boards and commissions, and I think we used to staff somebody for it, and I don't know what happened to that, but my recollection is, and it's been years since it appeared, but I want to say that at some point during my tenure on the council that we used to have, it used to appear on our boards and commissions.
There are several different Quinnipiac River groups.
Okay.
Some are very informal and some are a little more formal, so let me look into that.
Yeah.
I can probably find the right group.
Okay. Anyone else? Ms. Kramer?
Hi, guys. One of my soapboxes, and can go back and film over the last few years, is every time we talk about the environment and our open spaces, which are so incredibly important to Cheshire and have been brought to the forefront of a lot of town discussion lately, quite heavily, is we can have a ton of open space, and we do. We're blessed that way in Cheshire. But it has a requirement of upkeep, especially open space that's used by the public recreationally. So if we keep engaging in gathering, buying, inheriting almost open space, we really have to start looking in ways in which not only to do this in a volunteer fashion, because that's inconsistent, it comes and goes throughout the years, it puts a lot of burden on the few that are consistent volunteers. We really have to look as a town at funding some of the projects that need to be done to keep these open spaces safe, usable, and marketable, really. So you have a champion in that, because I've mentioned that for years, and I appreciate all the work that you do. I appreciate the voice that you've given Cheshire Open Spaces, and I look forward to continued working with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Pearson?
Likewise, I just want to thank you for all of the work that you're doing. It's quite impressive what your commission has done over the last year or two. And to second what Councilor Kramer referred to, the open space management plan is something that we've had on the list of goals and objectives for our town and for our town manager, and we are working towards that. And so thank you for all your work on that. That's something that I have been championing specifically. And I just want to commend all of the work that you're doing with all of the different commissions and different offices as well. I think that collaboration at Spirit is commendable, and you're a gold star to be lived up to by other commissions in our community. So thank you.
Thank you.
And seeing nothing else, I'll wrap it up by saying thanks again. I know that some of your board is here tonight, but anybody that is not here, please pass along our thanks and congratulations for your efforts. And again, we appreciate you being here tonight to provide us an update.
Thank you. And I will pass it along. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Which brings us to item C, the update from our semi-quincentennial committee, steering committee.
Hear me! Members of the Semi-Quincentennial Celebration Committee would like to address ye. Diane Calabro, Ray Bennett.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for
Just-
giving us
yeah,
an
thank
opportunity
you, Ray.
to speak to you tonight. Better? Okay, good. You just met one of the three members of our group, Ron Gagliardi, myself, Diane Calabro, town historian, and Ray Bennett, along with his family. We are the Semi-Quincentennial Steering Committee, and I just wanted to go over a little bit of the accomplishments that we've had to date. So I believe in your packet you have a very illustrated little thing, and I want to point out that this past weekend we were over at the Ball and Socket Factory Tour, and this is maybe 10% of the Cheshire Cats that people drew for us, people of all ages, from as young as 2 and as old as their mid-80s. So we had a lot of people drawing Cheshire Cats and doing so very excitedly. We also have our October 16th Cheshire Community Letter, which went out through the Chamber of Commerce, and we will continue to distribute that to people that are not necessarily part of the Chamber. And so that will be our biggest tool to engage the community, to do many activities at family levels, at corporate levels, at civic and community group levels. And so we're excited to roll this out in the coming months. Of course, our big event is going to be on the 4th of July, 2026. This is what our group was charged to do. And I am going to turn the mic over to Ray Bennett, and he's going to share some of the plans for that day. Thank you.
Well, first of all, we had a wonderful display at the Winter Wonderland at Bartland Park. And some of you might have got pictures of some of those things there. Some of you visited the tent, hopefully. And I know Sean was there taking the quiz, right? So that was good. And anyways, we've been passing out these cards, Declaration Celebration, and it links to a website that our family created, and then also is eventually going to be linking to a page on the town website. Also goes to a national website. So there's a lot of information on this card, which I think you all have. We've given out a couple hundred of these already at the Winterfest and the Ball and Socket when we were there. And so that was a fun time there, engaging people, and looking forward to the plans as they develop for the Bartland Park. And we're going to be doing the reading of the Declaration on the morning of the 4th. There's a time capsule that was presented by somebody in 1976, so 50 years ago, and it's supposed to be opened on that morning of July the 4th. So we're going to be doing that, as well as other things that'll kind of be coming together in the next few months. So looking forward to a wonderful time and celebrating the 250 years of the country, but also Diane's been doing a lot with the graphic arts, trying to do a lot with drawings and telling stories of people in the town, and she can tell you more about that.
And I will. Ron, did you want to talk a little bit about your upcoming time capsule? I do. Of course, yes, he does. He'll be right along. So in addition to the 1976 Norton School time capsule, which is actually a milk carton, that's been housed at the Cheshire Historical Society, Ron has some ideas for the upcoming and new time capsule. So,
Greetings, fellow humanoids. I was going through my hoard of goodies today, and I found this. This is a copy of the Hartford Weekly Times dated March 4th, 1865. And it might be the oldest newspaper copy of any kind here in Cheshire. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be cool to put this in one of the time capsules and have it opened in 2065 as a gift of the 200-year-old newspaper? Oh, by the way, someone put in a suggestion that I be placed in one of the time capsules. I hope it wasn't my wife, but it's been rejected.
They
so-
don't know that you're timeless, Ron?
Ah, yeah. Oh, he's good. Yes. And that's basically it. We're going to have a few of them. I decided not to just have one. It's not as much fun. You have to have 3 or 4, open 10 years apart or something. So there'll be lots of community influence, and Andrew Martelli is probably going to be a major spearheader of this. He didn't know that, but now he knows.
He does now.
Any questions? I'm very questionable.
So you are questionable. There has been rumors for a while, and I'm sure you know the answer to this, that below the concrete blob that was dedicated by my former Cheshire High School class at the high school, that there is allegedly a time capsule below that or on the property somewhere. Is there any truth to that rumor?
I have never heard that.
Okay.
They're telling me that I know this information. I'm keeping it a secret from myself. Yeah.
All right, I'll talk to you later then.
I will.
boss.
I will check that.
we'll pick that up offline.
We'll pick that up. And one last thing, that question, that group of questions, like where was the Declaration of Independence signed? I knew the answer, at the bottom.
Thank you, Ron. All right, so in addition to all of these other exciting things going on at Bartland Park on the 4th of July, 2026, we're also going to be working on a graphic history project. And this is a special project for me. We rolled out a pilot program on October 3rd and 4th at the Cheshire Public Library, and it was really successful. People, such as the gentleman behind me who said, I can't draw, I won't draw, I don't draw, actually did some drawing, and did some drawing about how they fell in love in Cheshire, how they arrived in Cheshire, and these were all really done really well, which encouraged us to go forward with the workshops that we're planning as we roll into first and second quarter of 2026 and perhaps beyond. On the back of the handout that I provided to you, there should be a story about John Lambert Foote, This is a gentleman that had his drugstore next door to here, and this would be a sample of the type of history that you would see in this graphic history project that we're working on. As Ray mentioned, we have also had exposure at the Winter Wonderland on December 7th. We were at the factory, the holiday at the factory this past Sunday. And going forward, we have also contacted a few groups in Cheshire that are going to allow us to talk to them about our projects. So most notably, the January meetings for the Lady Fenwick DAR, the Cheshire Historical Society, and I want to continue to reach out once people get past the holidays to find out who might be interested during their community and civic group meetings to spare us 15 minutes to talk about how they can contribute to the 250th. In the letter that we sent out, we were trying to come up with a number of projects that would interest individuals, families, community groups, civic groups, and we're hoping that people do get engaged and do participate, and that we have a really splendid 4th of July celebration in Cheshire, and something beyond just another history book with this graphic history project that we're proposing. So thank you all, and thank you all for the support. Thanks to Noel, to Savannah, and to Andrew for their ongoing support with this project. So thank you.
Thank you to the three of you, and Andrew, thank you as well for staffing the committee. You know, it is, we are rapidly approaching it. It comes faster than you think. You know, here we are in December already, so we're literally a little over 6 months away from.
I believe we're at 200 days right now, but
There
who's
you
counting?
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fitting that you were here on the 200-day countdown.
Matter of fact, the town page has a countdown on it. You know,
Oh.
200 days, certain number of hours. and-
There's a town website that's, I think, still under development that'll be
Right.
released shortly, and I got to see a glimpse of it. Savannah Blance Maria has been working on this, and it is very impressive. When it's finally put out live, I think you're going to be astonished at the work that this woman has done on this website. Really nice.
Excellent. I'll turn it over to my colleagues for any questions or comments.
And if you go to the QR code on our card here, you know, I don't know if you got one of these. in your-
Yeah, can you leave one of those
I'll
with
leave a whole
Noelle?
bunch of
And
them.
in fact, I'm sure she's got some, but yeah.
And either the website or the QR code works, but it'll ultimately link to the town's page there too.
Oh, which, also, the Cheshire Historical Society, Arts Place, we believe Ball and Socket, the library, everybody is going to link websites all
Right.
around town. So this is going to be a project that is going to really connect, literally connect throughout the town.
Well, again, thank you to, I'd say thank you to, please thank your committee, but you guys are the committee, so thank the entire committee for being here, and because Ron is here, and my last attempt, on the graphic novel, it says, 3 generations of foots in Cheshire, and shouldn't it be feet, Ron?
Well, that's kind of a defeatist attitude. I don't know.
And with that, we'll thank you again, and we
you.
appreciate you coming tonight to provide us an update. We look forward to seeing and hearing more as the months tick by and we get closer to July 4th.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, appreciate it. Item number 4 is the approval of minutes. I'm going to break these out, and we'll start with the minutes of November 18th, because I know we have a couple, we have recusals on both of these. So start with accepting a motion for the minutes of November 18th, 2025. That is a town council special meeting. Thank you, Mr. Jinks, and thanks, Ms. Pearson, for a second. All those in favor, please signify. And we have 2 recusals, that is Ms. Mankey and Mr. Tedisco, and the motion passes unanimously by those voting. The second is I'll entertain a motion for minutes of December 1st, 2025. Again, that was a town council special meeting. Thank you, Mr. Jinks, and thank you, Ms. Kramer. We have 1 recusal, that will be Ms. Pearson. Everyone else, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously by those voting. Brings us to item 5, the consent calendar. And again, I know that it was noted earlier, but our first item is indeed the acceptance and appropriation of $1,100 donation from Hope for Our Neighbors, Inc. to the Human Services gift account to provide shelter for an unhoused individual. So thank you again to that organization and to Human Services for their work on that. And I will ask Ms. Pearson to take care of our consent calendar, please.
Be it resolved, the Town Council approves the consent calendar for December 16th, 2025 as follows.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Thank you, Mr. Walsh. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. There are no items removed from consent calendar. There is no old business tonight, and diving right into new business with review of the Town Council rules and procedures. Again, we did talk about this at our organizational meeting. We will vote on these in January. They are included on your packets. So if everybody could go through those. The one that I know that I would like to change is currently for public comment. It talks about a 3-minute time limit. While I do want to keep the 3-minute time limit, it says that subject can go on for up to 20 minutes. I want to extend that to 30. And because the math works out better, 3 goes into 30 better than it does into 20. So, but that's the only one. And, you know, if you guys, if colleagues have anything, please send them to me, copy Mr. Kimball, and we'll address those and vote on our Town Council rules of procedure on the night of January, I believe it's January 9th, isn't it? 13th? Okay. Moving on to item B is the reassignment of Cheshire High School HVAC project from the Public Building Commission to the Board of Education. And Ms. Mankey, would you handle that, please?
Be it resolved that the Town Council approves Resolution Number 121625-2. Be it resolved that the Town Council hereby reassigns the Cheshire High School HVAC project from the Public Building Commission to the Board of Education.
Thank you, Ms. Mankey. Do we have a second? Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Ms. Taylor is here tonight. Thank you for being here. If you would kick off our discussion with some background on this one.
Sure. So I believe it was in 2020, we had a project authorized for our capital projects for, it was item 01359. And this was for some HVAC renovations, and we have since, not really made any progress on that account. But we luckily, earlier in the year, came across a donor who wishes not to be named that was willing to fund some renovations to our high school weight room. That includes some flooring and some new equipment. The issue is that we actually need we don't have any HVAC in our weight room right now. If you go in there, it's pretty warm and humid. And so putting new equipment and new flooring in a weight room that is not air conditioned is problematic and will ruin the equipment. So we've been kind of holding off on doing a renovation, but we realized that we had this capital item still open. It has $268,000. It can be applied to this project. We have went and got a rough order of magnitude for how much it would cost to have the weight room fully air conditioned, and that would be about $112,000 out of the $268,000 available. So our hope is that by transitioning it from the PBC back to the Board of Ed, that we can kind of move this project along quickly, we can capitalize on the donation, and we can provide our athletes some air conditioning throughout the entire school year, especially as we think about like August. A lot of people are in there, and it's pretty warm. I did a couple tours earlier in the fall. So that's our request. Like I said, we have kind of things in order to be able to move this along. So we're just looking to be able to have the funds back. So it's already, we're not asking for additional money. It's already been approved. It's just from 2020.
So it's currently a weight room and sauna.
Exactly. So I guess there's a dual benefit there. So, but yeah.
Questions or comments from colleagues? Mr. Walsh.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I want to thank the anonymous benefactor who generously is donating the equipment and the flooring to this. It does save our town a lot of money, so I will support this this ask, because I think it's important that, you know, if we're getting this free equipment, we better make sure it's taken care of. So, but I just wanted to make sure, you know, we do have some very generous people in this community, and there's one right there who wanted to do this, and we appreciate it. And anybody else who would like to donate anything else to our town is more than welcome. Thank you.
I'll check with Lou. We'll check with Lou when it comes up. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I will call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you all.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Item C is the authorization to apply for Connecticut Humanities Quick Grant for the Graphic History Project for the America 250th celebration. Mr. Wolf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Be it resolved that the Town Council approves Resolution Number 121625-3. Be it resolved that the Town Council hereby authorizes the application for the CT Humanities Quick Grant in an amount not to exceed $4,999 for the Graphic History Project for the America 250th celebration. And be it resolved that the Town Council authorizes the Town Manager, Sean M. Kimball, to execute any and all necessary documents associated with said grant.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Thank you, Ms. Pearson, for the second. Mr. Martelli for discussion.
Sure, I think Chairwoman Diane Calabro did a really good job kind of explaining what this grant would be for. So we're going to be submitting the grant to the Connecticut Humanities in an amount cannot exceed $5,000. We're going to go for the full ask of $4,999 to support the efforts of hiring a graphic artist to do the actual history project. It's envisioned to be a series of classes at Arts Place as well as the Cheshire Public Library to come up with full depictions of history in town that relates to the era to coincide with the semi-quincentennial celebration. I could say that really well at this point. To celebrate the American history this coming July 4th, 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Martelli. Any questions or comments from colleagues? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Appreciate it. Item D is the approval of elderly and totally disabled tax relief program income and tax credit levels. Ms. Pearson.
Be it resolved, the Town Council approves Resolution Number 121625-4. Be it resolved, the Town Council approves the following changes to the property tax relief qualifying incomes in the ordinance sections 17-6, A2, and 17-6, A3 for the 2025 grand list.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Thank you, Mr. Jinks, for the second. By way of discussion, Mr. Kimball, do you want to? Yeah, thank you.
No problem. So we reviewed and discussed this earlier this evening with the Budget Committee. This is an annual action by the Town Council. Each year in November, the state comes out with their new brackets for qualifying income for the various tiers of state level mandated approved tax relief. Cheshire has always gone far beyond both the amounts of tax credit, but also in the eligible ranges above the maximum that the state has for eligible Cheshire residents to participate in the program. As you'll see in the second attachment, well, I guess the one attachment behind the resolution that showed the recommendation for the 2027 year, the tax income the income levels cap out under state requirement at $56,500. Ours cap out at $79,325 for single and $84,954 of income for married individuals. So this year, as in past years, we always mirror the same range adjustments that the state makes for all of those under the state's cap, so to speak. And then we have kept ours the same going forward, kept the same overall cap this year as a recommendation from staff, and also kept the levels the same this year. But we have mirrored those same ranges for the lower tiers so that there's no confusion between which bucket somebody would fall in based on their income level. So with that, we are looking for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. And of course, this is in addition to or separate from the action that the previous council took in November for the Veterans Tax Relief Program. So we appreciate it. Questions or comments from colleagues? Ms. Pearson.
I just wanted to clarify something we did talk about earlier. If we approve this evening, then we can immediately begin to send letters to people in the community who have previously received this tax credit. We can also then begin to promote this on our website so people can begin applying beginning February 1st. Generally, the application period is open for 2 months, and this would take effect in July when we approve our next budget. And just for clarification, in terms of who qualifies, those age 65 and above, and those who qualify under Social Security and SSDI, if you meet those qualifications, then you could qualify for this tax credit. You can find more information on our website, and we will be promoting this on our social media. And in addition, our senior center features information about this tax credit as well, so you can find out information from our senior center as well for anyone who's watching and who's interested in taking advantage or learning more about this tax credit benefit in our community.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Anyone else?
Just a quick clarification. I had said 2 months earlier in Budget Committee, as Ms. Pearson said, it's actually the filing program is about 3 months. It's from February 1st until May 15th, so there's a little more time there. But we do encourage, and please get the word out for this wonderful program. And as we referenced earlier, we do so through our website, social media, the senior center's Front Porch News, and a variety of sources. So thank you.
And with that, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Item E is the approval of acquisition of an easement along a portion of 966 Jarvis Street. We had a possible executive session, which we are not going to do. And Mr. Wolf, would you read that into the record, please?
Be it resolved that the Town Council approves Resolution Number 121625-5. Be it resolved that the Town Council authorizes the acquisition of an easement of approximately 938, give or take, square feet located at 966 Jarvis Street as detailed on the attached easement map from the landowner Donna B. Zentek at the price of $4,800 for the purpose of constructing a sidewalk, and be it further resolved that the Town Council authorizes the Town Manager, Sean M. Kimball, to execute and deliver any deeds, easement, instruments, or agreements necessary to carry out the intent of the foregoing resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Mr. Walsh, was that? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Walsh, for the second. Mr. Martelli.
So it's pretty straightforward. This is the missing link in the sidewalk to serve the new Barnum Elementary School. This will allow the sidewalk to be constructed this coming construction season, extending from Dundee Drive to Barnum Elementary. The reason for this is the road bed had been shifted at one point, and so the sidewalk is out of the town's right of way, so it had to be constructed on private property. This was a negotiated settlement with that property owner to secure the easement for its construction. It had been negotiated using an appraisal and then negotiated with our town attorney. This was a agreed to stipulation settlement with the property owner, so we didn't have to go the route of eminent domain, which no one wanted to do. But it allowed the sidewalk to be constructed this coming season. It's the last piece, so it'll be ready for the upcoming school year in September when the school opens.
Thank you, Mr. Martelli. Mr. Veliver.
Thank you, and I'm glad, this came up in the past, and I'm glad we were able to come to a resolution of it. I think it's
course.
important. And maybe this question is better suited to Emily, but the question is, in the discussions with the superintendent of schools, there's been some discussion about the Moss Farms area and what school they're going to. And I guess my question is, has that been determined yet? Is there, as far as, part of this, I mean, obviously it's important to complete that sidewalk, but part of that was because everyone assumed that the people on Dundee were going to be potentially walking to Barnum School. Now, there's some discussion that they may not be going to Barnum School. So I guess my question is, do we know whether that area is going to be going there? I mean, obviously, in the end, it's probably important to complete the sidewalk anyway, but part of that was because the concept was that neighborhood was going that direction.
Yes, so the Board of Ed is talking about that on our meeting on 7:30 this Thursday. So hopefully one of the plans you're talking about is B2, and that's the scenario that's on the redistricting website with the interactive map. And that, in that scenario, the Moss Farms neighborhood would be districted to Barnum, so the sidewalks would be imperative there. I do know that in the Moss Farms neighborhood, not all of those streets have sidewalks, so that's an additional consideration, but there would be a fair amount of walkers that would benefit from like the Dundee extension. That would be going to Barnum anyways. But in B2, yes, Moss Farms neighborhood is districted to Barnum, and they're under a mile from the
Gotcha.
school.
Is that the preferred plan at this point? I know the Board of Ed still has to make a decision, but is that,
Yeah. That's one we've talked about at length, and there's a legacy waiver process that's went out with that scenario in mind, where we've talked about the Moss Farms neighborhood and then some of the Chapman neighborhoods near Cheshire Street. So they'll make their determination on Thursday, hopefully.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you both. Ms. Kramer, you're going to be busy for a couple minutes. Item F starts with some personnel items, the approval, excuse me, approval of Deputy Collector of Revenue position.
Be it resolved that the Town Council approves Resolution 121-625-6. Be it resolved that pursuant to the recommendation of the Personnel Committee, the Town Council hereby approves the Deputy Collector of Revenue job description as presented and authorizes the budget allocation for said position.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Kramer. Thank you, Ms. Pearson. By way of discussion, I'll kick it over to Mr. Kimball.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this position is really a revision replacement of the previous Assistant Collector of Revenue position. Thank you to the Personnel Committee who held a meeting last week to review this. And prior to that, this was the subject, this and the next two items were the subject of a what's called a Labor Management Committee under the Town Hall Union contract, where we reviewed these positions for approval and appropriate placement in the pay grades. The position of deputy, really, as I said, referencing the prior assistant collector position, has been updated to for the duties and expectations to provide supervision in the absence of the tax collector, as well as increasing the minimum qualifications to include CCMC certification and 2 years of experience. There's no increase in the requested pay grade from what was in the prior budget, as these edits now more appropriately match those of the typical TH9 union pay grade. So this was not funded in the current year budget. However, we did have, it was in favor of funding a revenue associate position that was scheduled to begin October 1st. But it's been determined that this structure really isn't going to be workable, and this is the preferred setup for the revenue collector. I know Anne Marie Burr is here this evening. That position has been held vacant, so actually from a budget allocation standpoint, the funding, the non-spent salary funds will more than cover the increase needed for this current fiscal year to authorize this position. So with that, I would, we'll ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. Questions, comments? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. So it occurs to me as we're well into our new business that when we were doing public communications, I failed to do item E, which was public comment. And the reason I know that is because I wanted to talk about library staffing. I wanted to kick off the public comment portion by saying that the council has received a handful of letters regarding restoration of the Senior Library Association position and some of the amenities that go along with having that particular position. I have responded on behalf of the council to the individuals that we've heard from, and I just want to be clear, and Mr. Kimball, if you want to add something, please do, but we are approving 3 different job positions tonight, but these do not have the sort of budget impact that the restoration of the Senior Library Associate would have. In addition to that, I have talked to Ms. Thoreau and Ms. Hernandez about potentially doing something to Band-Aid us in between, but that this council will be taking up looking at the Senior Library Associate position once we start our budget process in the month of April. And with that, I'll throw it back to you, Ms. Kramer, for the approval of Lead Records Associate position.
Be it resolved that the Town Council approves Resolution 121625-7. Be it resolved that pursuant to the recommendation of the Personnel Committee, the Town Council hereby approves the Lead Records Associate job description as presented and authorizes the budget allocation for said position.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Kramer. Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Back to you, Mr. Kimball.
Sure. So again, this is another position that was reviewed by the Labor Management Committee, also by the Personnel Committee last week. And this one dates back actually a little bit to last budget. You may recall, as part of our final budget cuts to the adopted budget, we did eliminate a part-time records associate position. Part of what was envisioned for that at the time, though, also was recognition of the great work that one of our longtime record associates does, the individual who's in line for this job reclassification to lead records associate, really runs the operation in the office, and as the memo in your packet outlines, I think having this structure that we envision and some of these responsibilities that are above and beyond what's in the existing records associate position, so that they are in charge and sort of directing some of the day-to-day works of the office, is really critical. It's a relatively modest change. Again, this has been negotiated and agreed to with the union. The union fully supports it. Management supports it as well. Is a grade change of also of a TH3 moving up to a TH5. The total impact of that on an entire year would be just a little over $4,000. As with this wouldn't be effective until January 1st. It's really half of that, so it's about a $2,000 change. But it's really important for the operation of the records division and within the police department. If I left anything out, I'm sure Chief Jordan will correct me. But we would look for your support for this approval tonight.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, this is an opportunity to thank Chief Jortner and to congratulate Deputy Chief Durkee, who is in attendance tonight. Congratulations, welcome aboard. You guys make up a very impressive team. So please pass along our thanks as well to the department for everything they do, and give them our best for a happy holiday season as well. With that, I will call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Item H is the approval of Administrative Assistant 1 for Parks and Recreation reclassification. Back to you, Ms. Kramer.
Be it resolved that the Town Council approves Resolution 121625-8. Be it resolved that pursuant to the recommendation of the Personnel Committee, the Town Council hereby approves the reclassification of the Department of Parks and Recreation's Administrative Assistant 1 position to an Administrative Assistant 2.
Thank you, Ms. Kramer. Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Mr. Kimball, back to you.
Sure. And this one's relatively straightforward. This is a position that in the last budget was increased to a full-time position. This would be the only administrative assistant in a full-time capacity that is not at least a administrative assistant 2, TH3. And if you look at the job description, responsibilities, it is in keeping with the similar administrative assistant 2 positions in any other department beyond recreation. So this is really a parity issue, one that the union brought forward that management, upon looking through, fully agreed with. And so we did also review this with the Labor Management Committee and the Personnel Committee last week. And this would be, again, a TH2 to a TH3 within the union contract, as that more appropriately reflects the responsibilities in comparison to other administrative assistant 2s. The total impact, sort of similar to the last one, is about $4,800 in an annualized basis, and as it would be effective January 1st, would be about $2,400, which again can be accommodated within the existing budget.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. Questions or comments? Ms. Kramer.
I said this during our smaller meeting, and I just wanted to make sure that I said it publicly as well. The work that Sean and the rest of his team have done in trying to staff and keep all of our staff happy and motivated and working at a level that they're comfortable with without having to hire full-time other positions by upgrading salaries to highlight more responsibility given to individuals. He's really doing the town a huge service, and Personnel Committee thanks him for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kramer. I appreciate that. Anything else? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Item I is, and I have Ms. Kramer down, but because there is no resolution on this one, where you get a little break. You can take a swig of water. It's the review and discussion of the 2026 Town Manager's Goals and Objectives. Mr. Kimball and I spoke earlier today, and I think what we'd like to do is have our council clerk try to pull together a meeting of the council in early January to discuss this. And what I would say to my colleagues is that if there are priorities that you have that you would like to see the council accomplish in the next year, I still think in the manager's goals and objectives are in your packet. I still think they're a little bit lengthy. I'd like to see them whittled down some so that we set a reasonable set of goals and objectives for Mr. Kimball. But I also want to make sure it reflects the goals and objectives of this council and all the individuals on this council. So as you sit down to your holiday gatherings and spending time with family, don't forget to be taking a couple minutes to be thinking about what the council's goals and objectives and specifically your personal goals and objectives are to try to get accomplished during the year. We will do that when we get together with a meeting that Ms. Shepard sets up for us, and we will come back and Ms. Kramer will do the resolution when we finalize these, hopefully at our January meeting. So if anyone has, because we do have review and discussion, if anyone has any questions or comments about what's in the packet or what I just referred to, please have at it now. Seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you all, I appreciate it. And I know it's a busy time of year, but I think it's important to get this done in a timely fashion. We were late getting these approved last year, and I want to make sure that Mr. Kimball has the full year to accomplish the goals and objectives that we're setting out for him. And then the last item, we are going to wait for an executive session. Item J is the approval of 2 tax appeal settlements. We will go into executive session to discuss those, and we will have a vote coming out of executive session. And with that, I will turn it over to item 9, which is the town manager report and communications. Mr. Kimball.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. You should see your town manager's report uploaded to your online agenda there. But I also want to make sure I draw your attention to this is one of the months where we asked for a written report from the school building committee. So please take a look at that. There's also a lot of great photos that Rich Gussenberg submitted as a part of that report. Also an excellent economic development report and police and fire as well. So make sure you take a look at those when you get a chance. For my report, just want to start by thanking all who attended and participated in our 2nd annual Winter Wonderland at Bartland Park. We had a great turnout on a beautiful evening. Activities included games for all ages, wagon rides, cookies, hot cocoa, reindeer, goats, music, the holiday tree and menorah lighting, and of course Santa arriving on a Cheshire Fire Department fire truck for pictures. The expanded area of Bartland Park South and our new community band shell was certainly on full display and received rave reviews. Special thank you goes to Barb Costello, Elizabeth Main, John Golick from Recreation for organizing and the programming. Additional huge thank you to Mark Cunningham, along with Dan Bombero, Rich Pruitt, and all of our incredible DPW maintainers who worked so hard to create holiday light displays, decorated poles, menorah, tree lighting, tree decorations, and the in-house creation of 2 very beautiful hay wagons, some of the best you'll ever see. So thank you, of course, our Recreation Commission, our student volunteers, the Lions Club, Cheshire Junior Women's Club, Power Station Events, and the Town Council for all of your support. I've included a few photos there of a great evening. Up next, Cheshire's Energy Assistance Program. Just a reminder, Cheshire Human Services is an intake site for energy assistance. The Energy Assistance Program offers financial assistance to income-eligible households in paying a portion of the household's heating costs during winter months. This is a supplemental assistance program, and the award amounts are a little lower this energy season. It's helpful to plan accordingly. Payments are made directly for to fuel and utility vendors. Program eligibility is based on income and household size. Applicants are required to provide documentation of current income for household members over the age of 18. This is an annual program, so the application does need to be completed yearly. Individuals interested should contact Kristen Sherry at 203-271-6690. Also, in keeping with Human Services, our Human Services Department will be continuing their annual Adopt a Family holiday program. They're asking for gift card donations, which they distribute to Cheshire families facing financial hardship during the holidays. Popular retailers are Target, Walmart, Marshalls, Dunkin', Kohl's, Amazon, Stop & Shop, Big Y, and of course local Cheshire businesses. The Department of Human Services is extremely grateful to be part of such a generous and compassionate community. Please again contact Kristen Sherry at Human Services with any questions, and the deadline to contribute is this Thursday, December 18th. And happy to announce the Cheshire Library will be hosting a series of concerts over the winter months on Saturdays, on certain Saturdays, from 2 p.m. to 3:30. These dates include January 1st, February 7th, and March 21st. On other great news, the Cheshire Library was recently awarded a grant from the Community Foundation of Greater New Haven in the amount of $75,000. This is $25,000 to be dispersed each year for 3 years to support the purchase of materials for the visually impaired that utilize the library's homebound program. And so congratulations to our amazing library. And also just a quick announcement of an innovative new program. First of all, our full winter 2026 Park and Rec program guide is now available. One interesting program is a pizza making course that will be happening on January 10th and February 21st. You can learn the fundamentals of dough and sauce making, roll out and dress a pie before throwing it in a 900-degree oven. Please note, while this class is suitable for children as young as 6, children ages 6 through 8 must bring a parent to assist with the activity. Please be sure to register. I think I will be. And finally, last but certainly not least, on December 11th, Our Assistant Superintendent of Highways and Grounds, Richard Pruitt, was recognized as the recipient of the 28th Annual Connie Wallace Employee of the Year Award. The Connie Wallace Employee of the Year Award has been presented every year beginning in 1998. It is named in honor of Connie Wallace, who was a secretary to the town manager and the Town of Cheshire employee for 36 years. The selection process involves soliciting formal nominations, and ultimately all employees select their choice from a ballot of candidates. Rich Pruitt is a well-deserving Employee of the Year Award recipient. For over 20 years, he's served the town of Cheshire in the Public Works Department and as a volunteer firefighter. He cares deeply about our community's reputation for high-quality public safety and public works infrastructure. Rich consistently displays patience and professionalism while working on stressful and challenging projects. He's always provided service and responsiveness above and beyond expectations. We will be planning to recognize Rich for his achievement at our January Town Council meeting, so please look for that. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. Couple things. Mr. Gussenberg's report is in your packets, and I know you'll see him soon. So please pass along the my thanks for the shout out in his report. And he uses my 5 favorite words: on time and under budget. So. I appreciate it, and thank you, Mr. Gussenberg, and look forward to seeing you in January as well. One other quick comment: the Winter Wonderland at Bartlett has really become a premier event in this town. If you haven't had the opportunity to attend, make every attempt to do so next year. It is a very special event that a lot of town staff puts a lot of work into, and it really is special. This is only the second year we've done it on that property, and it's gotten better both years, and I shudder to think of what the minds of our town staff are gonna come up with going forward. But if you have the opportunity to attend, please do so in coming years. And I'll try to remind you as we get into the end of 2026. With that, any questions for Mr. Kimball? We'll start with Mr. Veliver.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sean, I know you and I spoke about this the other day, but I figured for all of the people watching on TV, and I know it's still a topic of discussion on the community forum, so I thought I would at least give you an opportunity to answer the question: how come the tree on the green isn't lit?
So, yes, thank you for the question. In part, so when the lights were taken down last year, those lights had been kind of too far gone and sort of grown into the tree a little bit, had to be cut out and taken down. So in part, the exact set of lights that were on before was no longer available. But intentionally, we were trying to have Bartlett South, as we were just talking about, and the official town holiday tree at Bartlett Park be the focal point of that event and for those decorations. Public Works has also, I think, gone above and beyond in recent years, adding outlets to all of the light poles on West Main Street and decorating those poles as well for additional holiday. So we're certainly big fans of holiday lighting with the town of Cheshire. Just want to be crystal clear. We have had conversations with the church. I had another conversation yesterday. Ultimately, and as a reminder for folks, that is church property, and it's a church-owned tree and property there. And they are looking at lighting it themselves, and I did offer, we had purchased a topper for that tree a few years back, and that tree is too large for our current holiday tree at Bartlett Park. So I did offer them the topper if they would like, so not to go out and purchase another one. They can have that topper if they'd like. So they are having discussions about lighting it themselves either this year or years going forward. So look forward to seeing what they come up with.
Anything else from colleagues? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Kimball, appreciate it. The department status reports from Police, Fire, and Economic Development are in your packets. Encourage you to peruse all of those. We'll move on to item 10, which is reports of committees of the council. Chair reports, starting to my left, Ms. Kramer.
Most of what we discussed this week, we just voted on, new positions and upgraded titles.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf.
No report.
Ms. Pearson.
No report?
Mr. Jinks.
We haven't had a meeting yet, so no report.
Ms. Mankey.
No report.
Mr. Tedisco. Thank you all. Brings us to miscellaneous. There is none. Item 11 is appointments. 11A is liaison reports. Back to my left, starting with Ms. Kramer.
Karen Schnitzer was here earlier with Laura Monti from the Environment Committee. I do want to mention one thing that they didn't discuss, which has been taking up a bit of conversation, is just the Yankee Express Highway property. Is that
Yankee Highlands Expressway.
Yankee Highlands Expressway? I'm sorry, it's too late for my brain to work. And the NEMBA, which is the biking trail, they're discussing the MOU and moving forward with that project. So that project has not been forgotten, and neither has the Environment Committee. Both of them are going to be working together to move this project forward.
Thank you. Mr. Wolf? No report. Ms. Pearson?
No report.
Mr. Jinks? Ms. Mankey?
Just Board of Ed, the new, sorry, forgot I have to do this. Just that the newly elected Board of Ed is meeting, and right now the big agenda item is their redistricting plans. Emily already talked that they have a meeting on Thursday where that will be decided. And I went to library last night, and it was their first meeting, and their discussion mostly was on restoring the person for technology, which you already brought up.
Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Tedisco?
I'm a little embarrassed that my only contribution tonight is to say no report.
Oh, do that? I was gonna, if you were gonna do a report, I was gonna have you fix your mic, but as long as it's no report, then yeah. Mr. Walsh?
Beautification Committee met, passed a couple more signs, had a long discussion about the Homewood Suites property where the new hotel will be built up there, and they're going to pass along their suggestions to them. The Cheshire Housing Authority will be meeting tomorrow night, and I know there's going to be an update on Jack's Farm, so hopefully I can get that to you for the next meeting. But before I stop, I know Mr. Talbot had mentioned this at the first meeting about how how we miss a lot of special things with our families when we are sitting up here. And tonight is my wife's birthday, which I am missing, but I'm not sure if she misses me that much. But I do want to wish my wife a very happy birthday tonight, because I worked all day and I came here, so I will see her later tonight, or tomorrow when she wakes up. So thank you.
Well, I was going to say, please pass along our thanks and happy birthday from,
she's
from
watching.
the full council. Yes, yeah, I'm sure that's the perfect way to spend a birthday evening, is watching the town council meeting. So, if you watch it on replay, happy birthday, Mr. Veliber. Thank you. Appointments and. If I can have you save the LaRusso appointment till the end, I do want to ask Mr. DeAgostine about that before we proceed. Do you have any?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have one. Is the reappointment of Michael O'Donnell to the Chesprocott Health District for the term present to 12/31/28. And the second one is the appointment of Anita Blake to fill the vacancy of Chuck Neth to the Planning and Zoning Commission alternate position, which would be from present to 11/2/27. Since that's filling a vacancy of an elected, it would only be until the next municipal election.
Okay. Do you want to do the second.
You want
to
to do them
hi-
all together, or we?
Yeah, do the second to his, and then do the 3 of the 4 you
So
have.
I
and-
second David's.
Thank you.
Mike? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, our first is Kathy Yakavone to the Chespercott Health District. It's a new appointment, replacing Jim Jinks. The second is Rich Pruitt.
Do the term of
Oh,
office
sorry,
and
sorry.
party affiliation.
That is, term is 12/16/25 to 9/1/26. He's a Democrat. Next one is Rich Pruitt to the Public Safety Commission, replacing Corey Nash. It's a new appointment. Term is 12/16/25 to 1/31/28. He's unaffiliated. Next is Paul Calaluse to the Zoning Board of Appeals. This is a new appointment replacing Deborah Mankey. Term is 12/16/25 to 12/6/27. Mr. Calaluse is a Democrat. And then we're at Mr. LaRusso's.
Okay, so let's vote on those, and then I'll have a conversation with Mr. DeAgostine.
Second.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Villabert. So all the appointments, the 5 appointments that we have before us have been motioned and seconded. I'll call for a vote. All those,
Well, before, just a comment if I can, on that. Do you want to do that in case the other vacancy doesn't materialize? Do you want to do that one?
all right, so let's do.
Do you want to just do the 5?
Let's hold the zoning board of appeals. So, the 2 that you're bringing forward are, in addition to the 2 from Mr. Velaber, your 2 are Ms. Yakavone. No,
Yeah.
but we're gonna do 2, and because they're tied in. So the 2 that you're gonna bring forward are Ms. Yakavone and Mr. Pruitt. So we will vote on those 4 appointments to boards and commissions. Okay, so with that, is in addition to Blake and O'Donnell from Mr. Velaber, call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. So, Mr. DeAgostine, the question is, we had, and I know that, that Mr. D'Onofrio had weighed in on the issue regarding zoning board of appeals. Is that correct? Is that the position at ZBA? So, Chris LaRusso was an unaffiliated representative of Zoning Board of Appeals. Are you familiar with this? I'm not. Okay. So what had happened was, Mr. LaRusso was appointed after 1 year to replace an elected member of ZBA. And the term of office went from the day we appointed him through to 12/6/27. And he had been appointed in 2024 as a 4-year term. That position should have been brought up as part of the municipal election in November. And it was not. So in conversation with Mr. D'Onofrio, he said the best way to do it was to treat it as a vacancy because it was not handled in the proper way, and now that position is, theoretically still open. So the two that we have 2 openings on Zoning Board of Appeals. And I think I see what you're talking about. The easiest way to do it, and I would have to correct these, if we appoint Mr. LaRusso to the vacancy of Ms. Mankey and appoint Mr. Calaluse to the vacancy of Mr. LaRusso, where the way we did it was appoint LaRusso to LaRusso's vacancy. So does it matter? What's your opinion on if it's easier to do it reverse and appoint LaRusso to Menke and Calaluz to LaRusso? And if you followed all that, Mr. D'Agostino.
Heads. The latter sounds better, but if you need a decision tonight, I'd say the latter sounds better. What I'd like to do is consult with Attorney D'Onofrio if he's already opined on this so that we're all on the same page. But you do have the ability to do the latter, and that makes a little more sense in terms of the parties. But in terms of on-the-spot answer, I don't have it.
So are you okay if we do it the other way with LaRusso to Menke?
I still think you're violating the minority representation on this. And because my concern would be that he would have been up. He would have been up for election this past election. So if he had run on the Democratic line when he should have, and he got elected, he, as filling a vacancy, would be the first to be appointed, which means he would have been appointed and one of the other two full-term Democrats would not have been allowed to be seated by minority representation, because a vacancy gets seated first. So which means the highest voting Republican would have been seated instead of either Teresa Graham or Mr. Cullinan. And so that's my concern there. And I think had he been appointed, it may not have been, that's one thing, but he would have had to, he should have been running. And so to now appoint him sort of gets around the issue of minority representation, because it would be, I looked at that now effectively you would have 5 Democrats on the Zoning Board of Appeals. There are five appointments for that, and so that would be, that's my concern. So I mean, I would like to see if Jeff has, the same concern. I recognize, in looking at it that way, I just want to make sure that, because my concern is it sort of sets a precedent there. That means that in theory, if all 9 of us ran as our parties, but we technically were unaffiliated, we could have 9 people who run on the Republican ticket or 9 people who run on the Democratic ticket all get elected and say, we're not Republicans, we're unaffiliated, and we all get seated.
But you couldn't have 9 unaffiliated, because then it's minority
Right, but you could,
representation for Rs and Ds.
But if you split them up 5 and, if you split that numbers up between.
Theoretically.
So my concern is that I think, I understand and, where this is coming from, because, obviously when Mr. LaRusso was appointed, he was appointed properly because there was minority representation at that point. But now that both Republicans lost in the last election, there are no registered Republicans on the Zoning Board of Appeals in the 5 seated, the primary seats, the main seats. So that's why my concern is, so, I don't know if you want to hold off of that. Obviously, Mr. LaRusso continues to serve until replaced, so he's not going anywhere. You would continue to have a vacancy there, but that's why I wanted to suggest that we held off on Mr.
Calaluz.
Because the question ultimately is, assuming I'm right, then only one of those 2 would get seated, and you guys would have to make a decision as to which one of those 2. Now, the question would be, I don't know what Jeff's suggestion, assuming I am right, I don't know what Jeff's suggestion would be to fix that, in the sense that if in fact that would have been true, then in theory a Republican would have been seated for a full 4-year term. Now, because they've been seated and sworn in, the only real remedy, I think, would be to allow potentially the Republicans to fill that vacancy, that even though it's only a 2-year vacancy, because either one is only a primary, either Mr. Either your vacancy or the vacancy for Mr. LaRusso, or filling that vacancy. Either one of them is only a 2-year term, because they're only going to, no matter how it happens, they only get served until the next municipal election. So that's my only suggestion. So if if we could at least get Jeff to officially, sort of opine on that, and then see the best way to go for that. I just don't want to have either one of them get appointed, only to find out that one of them has to sort of be backed out.
That's fine. Okay, so we'll hold off on these. Just note that that I will be in contact with Mr. D'Onofrio concerning this. But Mr. LaRusso, even though appointed by the Dems as a replacement, Mr. LaRusso is an unaffiliated, so I'm not sure there is a violation of the minority representation. But I think it's important to get Jeff to weigh in on it. So
Yeah, 'cause
I'll give these back to you, Mr. Wolf. Yeah, and we'll hold those for the January meeting. Do you want me to be in charge? Okay. Give them to Noel. She won't lose them.
Mr. Chairman, as
Okay.
I said, Mr. Chairman, as I said, my concern is that there is just, that this may run afoul of and sets a precedent for filling those vacancies to sort of, to the exclude. Obviously, had he run on a different ticket, like had he run as an unaffiliated, like whatever, if there's other third parties, right, then that's different than if they're running unaffiliated and being appointed for that purpose. So,
Yep.
thank
All
you.
right.
Mr. Chair, just a quick question.
Sure.
Quick question. Does the town clerk have to weigh in on this too? It's more of a concern of mine that we missed that one too.
Yeah,
I mean-
right.
I mean,
Right, that
that's
this is-
kind of like, how do we miss that? But
So
yeah.
the town clerk is the one that realized this and
Right.
started the ball rolling, so.
Does she
and
have
I
any
know
say
there
in
was
this, or-
conversations with the RTC chair regarding this as well.
Yeah, does she have any, I mean, I don't know if she's talked to the state on this or how to go about this as well. I mean, I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, there was conversations
Okay.
with the Secretary of State's office.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep. We'll get it squared away and get people appointed. Okay, very good, thank you. Town attorney's report, anything?
No report, thank you.
Thank you. Council communications, letters to the council. I know that all of us were copied. I alluded earlier to letters that were received that I responded to on behalf of the council regarding the library issue. In addition, there were several communications we received concerning the redistricting issue. Again, I responded on behalf of the council, and I think I try to CC the council when I do that. Obviously, redistricting is out of the council's purview, and we have no say in facilities or the redistricting, so. Anyone else have, Ms. Kramer?
I received this communication late, or I would have sent it to everybody. There was a petition left for inlands and wetlands today to set up and request a public hearing for, I believe, the Norton Farm property. So I just wanted to get that on record and make sure that the petition gets where it's supposed to be, and to highlight that to the town council that the community is putting together a petition for a public hearing for that piece of property.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you very much for that information. Do you know where that petition is, who's circulating it, where it's?
Yeah,
Was it an email you received?
yeah. So it definitely is on the forum, but not that that's an official communication. But Mark Gansos, I don't know how to
Is that,
pronounce
there's
his
like
last name.
like a symbol above one of the
Not,
letters?
not in the email.
Okay, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I know, okay. I'll look for
He
it.
lives in District 4, which is why he sent this to me quickly right before the meeting, asking me if I was going to be in attendance, but I said, no, I have a conflicting meeting, so I'm going to be at town council meeting. And he asked me to make sure, because he's not able to make the meeting, that they received the dropped-off petition, and just to make sure that we are aware that there is the Norton Brothers petition going around for a public hearing for inland wetlands and watercourses. And he would also like to mention, he mentioned also that there's no place on the website, on the town website, for any communications to be directed directly to inland and wetlands. So there's not one email address for that committee.
They can contact staff, though. It would go through staff.
Who would be there, who should I tell them to send a direct copy to? Because they brought a physical copy of it.
It should go to the town planner.
Town planner, okay, I'll make sure that they get that
To
information.
Mr. Glidden, then.
Glidden,
Yep.
okay, thanks.
And there physically is a petition, then?
There's physically a petition, I glanced at it
And-
quickly, and it is all Cheshire residents minus 2, and I believe,
But he asked if we were in receipt of it, or if the
no,
town...
he
Oh,
left it
okay.
here in person because he couldn't make the meeting.
Got
But
it.
he wanted it on record to the town council that
That there
is.
was one.
There is, the petition
Okay.
garnered enough signatures to present it to inland wetlands to petition for a public hearing for the Norton Brother Farm property.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, have him use Mr. Glidden as
I will.
his contact.
Wherever their meeting was tonight, he left a physical copy there, and I have a copy of it. He put it in a Dropbox, if you
Okay.
want me to circulate it to the rest of the group.
Excellent.
It was literally.
Yeah, if you would send it
right
to the rest of the
before-
council, so we all have it.
So they've gotten enough signatures to move it on.
He got enough signatures to drop it off and request the public hearing. I don't think the tally was incredibly high, but they did get enough signatures.
Thank you, appreciate it, Ms. Kramer. Anyone else, letters to the council, seeing none? Nothing for miscellaneous, and item 14 is items for executive session. We have 2 tax appeals that we'll be discussing. The only action out of executive session will be to finalize those 2 tax appeals. So I will entertain a motion to go into executive session to, hold that thought, to include assistant town manager, town attorney, finance director, Mr. Jascott, Ms. Shepherd, and that's it. Now I will.
So moved.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second from Mr. Veliver. All those in favor? Thank you. We're in executive session.